Hey everyone, it's Mike, and I'm back from my 2-month binge of Warcraft play to get you guys and gals some more content. So make sure you click on the subscribe button, as I will have some really cool stuff to catch up on in the next coming weeks. So I had a few requests to create a list of characters that are in the show but not in the book that are/were really important to the plot. I could actually spend an entire segment breaking down some of these individually, and actually I may do that for one or two. So, spoilers ahead, now's your chance. Alright, let's go ahead and jump right into it. We'll start off in the Riverlands, Highheart specifically, where we encounter the ghost of Highheart. While she physically does not manifest as a ghost, she is considered a prophetic woods witch, much like Maggie the Frog, sought out by the Brotherhood without banners to tell them the whereabouts of Beric Dondarrion. Now at this time in both book and show, Arya is actually a captive of theirs along with Gendry and the Hound. She then predicts the deaths of Renly and Balon. That's the Woods Witch, by the way, not Arya, obviously. The Greyjoy deaths wording indicates that he will be killed by a Faceless Man, which you can catch my video on the Faceless Men in the top right-hand corner by clicking on that as well. When she encounters Arya, she issues yet another prophetic line. I see you, wolf child, blood child. I thought it was the Lord who smelled of death. You are cruel to come to my hill, cruel. I gorged on the grief at Summerhall. I need none of yours. Begone from here, dark heart. Begone. An obvious nod to Arya becoming a Faceless Man. She is also said to be the Woods Witch that Jenny of Oldstones, who married into the Targaryen family, brought to court that prophesied the prince who was promised to be born to the Mad King Aerys line. Most people believe this to be Daenerys or Jon. Next up, we have young Griff, who actually claims to be Aegon, the surviving son of Rhaegar Targaryen. Aegon was said to have been smashed up against the wall by Gregor Clegane, but in the book, he is supported by Varys and Illyrio as rightful heir to the Seven Kingdoms. He's also a highly educated individual that has been tutored in all facets of academia, sort of like Alexander the Great being tutored by Aristotle and other great scholars for some grand succession. Now, there are several theories as to who he might be. The most likely is that he's a Blackfyre bastard, but he's definitely a polarizing figure in the book that I wish really made it to the show. For those of you unfamiliar with the Blackfyre name, that is essentially a group of Targaryen bastards that actually had a huge rebellion in the book. Currently, young Griff is backed by the Golden Company, which is an army of sellswords with Blackfyre ties, and they are led by the former Hand of the King Jon Connington, staging up an assault on Storm's End, the former home of the man that usurped his alleged grandfather Aerys, and also slew his alleged father Rhaegar. Moving on to my personal favorite pick for characters left off is Reek. Now you're probably thinking that our genitalist friend Theon was turned into Reek. Well, there was a Reek Part 1 and Part 2 in the book that predates Theon's transformation. Reek 1 is actually sent by Roose Bolton to help mentor his already troubled bastard Ramsay Snow as a cruel joke to Ramsay's mother. If you remember the story, Roose Bolton actually rapes Ramsay's mother underneath the hanging corpse of her husband. And in the book, during Robb Stark's rebellion, Ramsay rapes Lady Hornwood and locks her in a tower, forcing her to feed on her own fingers before she actually starves to death. Yeah, Ramsay in the books is about 20 times worse than Ramsay in the show, believe it or not. Well, Robb Stark finds out about this and sends a group of men to hunt him down and bring him to justice. Ramsay flees, leaving Reek 1 behind, and Ramsay is actually hunted down and killed. Or so we're led to believe. Reek is then imprisoned in Winterfell until Theon and his Ironborn, after they take Winterfell, releases him to help him out. As you've already figured out, Ramsay completely threw Reek 1 under the bus, had him killed, and was disguised as Reek 2. Way to go, Theon. Alright, so circling back to the Riverlands, we find the reanimated corpse of Catelyn Stark in the form of Lady Stoneheart. Now, since this character has been overanalyzed, and even most show watchers know who she is without even reading the book, I won't spend too much time on her. Nevertheless, this ice-cold woman is running around the Riverlands with the Brotherhood without banners, slaying anyone and everyone she feels is associated with the phrase or the Red Wedding. I'm fairly certain that HBO left this character out because it would diminish the Season 5 cliffhanger of whether or not Jon Snow is dead. Yes, they did bring back Beric Dondarrion in the show, but that was just a primer used on a minor character to create conversation amongst the viewers. Bringing back Catelyn Stark would have been two major characters, and while it's super cool in the books, that doesn't always translate to good TV. Now let's move on to a Greyjoy who doesn't look like he's going to make an appearance in the show. Victarion Greyjoy is the younger brother of Balon and Euron, and captain of the Iron Victory. He's your typical Ironborn character, crass, barbaric, uneducated, etc., etc. George R.R. Martin has referred to him as basically just a dumb brute, and that's a direct quote. So Euron, being the total sack of shit brother and person in general that he is, seduced and impregnated Victarion's salt wife. Now, obviously to address the situation, Victarion beat her to death to retain his honor. Yeah. You may be wondering why he didn't just kill Euron while he was at it, but there's such a serious taboo about kinslaying in this world. Think about when Roose contemplated killing his infant son Ramsay, but didn't because it would have been kinslaying. In A Feast for Crows, after Euron claims the Salt Throne, he sends Victarion to Meereen to ask Daenerys for his hand in marriage. But Victarion's plan is to take her for his own. He also has a red priest that he found near death at sea that is now part of his crew, so he actually worships both R'hllor and the Drowned God. And lastly, but certainly not leastly, we have Patchface. And I am really disappointed they didn't include this guy on the show. Patchface, whose name results from a patch tattoo that covers his entire face, is Dragonstone's fool that was originally found by Steffon Baratheon, that's Stannis, Renly, and Robert's dad, while on a trip to Volantis. His cleverness and wit impressed Lord Baratheon so much that he bought the Jester's freedom to bring him back to Storm's End. He actually remarks that he might even make Stannis laugh. As Renly, Stannis, and Robert watched their parents' ship enter the bay, the boat sank, killing everyone on board. 3 days later, Patchface is washed ashore and thought to be dead. He manages to cough up all the water and survive, and he awakens, but he returns with a broken mind and what appears to be amnesia. He became the Fool of Dragonstone and is friends with Shireen in the books. He is subject to much speculation due to his fragmented prophecies that he sings to Shireen. He predicts the Red Wedding, amongst other things. When he's at the wall with Stannis and company, Melisandre remarks that Patchface is dangerous, and she has seen him in the flames with blood on his lips. Now to me, if Melisandre is remarking that somebody is dangerous, we probably need to take note of that. He's probably going to play an important role in some sort of upcoming battle, if not the grand picture for the battle for the Dawn. Sounds like Patchface deserves his own video. And that wraps things up for this video. There are so many more characters in the book that were left out of the show, like fan favorite Strong Belwas, Makoro, who is another red priest that rides around with Victarion, Quentin Martell, the list goes on and on. And I definitely want to hear back from you book readers in the comments on characters that were left out of the show that are in the books. Now these don't necessarily have to be super important characters. It could just be one that you found amusing or just somebody that you liked in general. I promise I will not be going on another hiatus like the last one. Warcraft is a powerful drug that must be used in moderation. That's all I can say. Also, I've addressed the previous audio issues as well that I was experiencing just by upgrading hardware and software, and subsequently have released the Faceless Man video to fix those sharp S sounds you may have noticed. This actually just started out as kind of a cool fun hobby for me that is still a cool fun hobby but has followers now and viewers, and I just want to make sure I produce best quality for you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll have some more in the coming days/weeks, so stay tuned. Thanks for joining and take care.